All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're shifting gears a little bit, heading over to India
Yeah.
to explore a city. Some of you may have heard of it. It's called Trivandrum,
Okay.
or you might also know it as Thiruvananthapuram. This is the capital city of Kerala.
Right. Down in the Southwest.
Yeah, southwestern India.
Yeah.
And we've got a pretty fascinating collection of information about this place. We're going to be looking at its history,
Yeah.
of course. Got to look at the history and the culture, the geography, the economy.
Oh, and of course the food.
Oh, always got to have some food recommendations when we're talking about different places around the world, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess you could say our mission today is to kind of synthesize all this stuff, right? You want to try to give you a really clear picture of what makes Trivandrum so special, and just a little bit of a taste. We're talking about like ancient temples existing alongside modern tech parks.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful beaches, a really rich cultural heritage.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And it's known as one of the safest cities in all of Kerala.
Oh, that's good to know.
So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I guess where should we even begin with a city that seems to have so much going on?
Well, I think a good starting point is really diving into that rich history and cultural significance that you mentioned.
Yes.
I mean, right off the bat, the Sri Padmanabha Swami temple comes to mind.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
This is one of the globally, this is recognized as one of the richest, most revered Hindu temples dedicated to Lord Vishnu. So, I mean, just the sheer scale of it, the history, and also we've got to remember, like, its wealth has played a pretty significant role in the region's economy, and continues to be kind of a topic of discussion. You know, how is this wealth managed? What's its impact on society?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so intertwined with the city's identity and history.
Totally.
And right nearby, you also have the Kuthra Malika Palace, also known as Puthan Malika.
Oh, okay.
This is from the 19th century, and it really showcases that traditional Kerala architecture.
Oh, cool.
And the legacy of the Travancore royal family.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got the really old stuff, and then you've got kind of, I guess, what you would consider more recent history, but still.
Is this a few centuries ago?
Yeah, exactly. A few centuries ago.
Right.
But what's really interesting is how that history is still alive today.
Right.
You know, you see these traditions continuing on through things like festivals, right?
No, for sure.
Like Onam.
Yeah, Onam is huge.
Yeah, and they celebrate that with such vibrancy, and it's this beautiful blend of the ancient and the modern that I think really defines Trivandrum in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think as we dig into some of the other stuff, I think we're going to see that theme come up again of that blend of tradition and modernity.
Yeah. So, okay, well, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the natural beauty that surrounds this city. I mean, I think if I say Trivandrum to somebody, they might immediately picture Kovalam Beach.
Absolutely. It's that iconic, crescent-shaped beach with resorts lining the coast.
Yeah.
All sorts of water activities going on.
Very touristy.
Yeah, it's a major draw for people wanting that kind of quintessential Carolan coastal experience.
Right. So this is like, if you're planning a trip to Trivandrum, this is a must-see.
For sure.
But it's not all about Kovalam, right? There are other coastal areas.
Oh, that's Tindercoat.
There's a place called Veli Tourist Village.
Okay.
And it's really interesting geographically because it's where Veli Lake actually meets the Arabian Sea.
Oh, wow.
So you have this, this unique kind of meeting point of freshwater and saltwater.
And it's great for boating, for families, for.
So it's a little bit of a quieter coastal experience, I guess you could say.
Yeah, more laid back.
Yeah.
And then if you venture a little bit inland, you can't forget about Agastyakutam.
Okay.
This is a peak.
Oh, like a mountain peak.
Yeah, within the Western Ghats.
Oh, wow.
So for anyone who likes trekking and the outdoors, this is a pretty significant spot.
Okay.
And it's also, it's a biodiversity hotspot, so it's really important for the region.
Yeah, so it's interesting how you have the coast,
right,
and then you have these hills and mountains kind of coming together.
Yeah, that geography really shapes a lot of what the city is about.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the tourism, the resources.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's influenced by that.
So speaking of, things that the city is about, Trivandrum has also made a real effort to become a hub for education and research.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They've got some pretty impressive institutions there.
Yeah, I mean, just the names alone, like Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology.
Wow.
I mean, that sounds like...
it's very futuristic sounding.
Yeah, it's very, like, cutting edge.
Yeah.
And, of course, you've got the University of Kerala, which has been around for a long time.
Right.
And the National Institute for Interdisciplinary Science and Technology. I mean, that's a lot of intellectual power in one place.
Yeah, it really is.
So, I imagine that's a huge driver of innovation and all kinds of things.
The Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, by the way, they focus a lot on astronautics and space technology. So they're really contributing to India's space program in a big way.
Very cool.
And that kind of leads us into the whole tech and economic side of things.
Okay.
You can't talk about that without mentioning Technopark.
Yeah, Technopark is, that's one of India's largest IT parks.
It is, yeah.
So it's obviously a big employer for the region, and it's really driving a lot of the tech industry there.
Yeah, it's been really instrumental in fostering this knowledge-based economy in Kerala, attracting a lot of foreign investment, and it's become this hub for tech startups.
So you've got kind of the beauty, you've got the history, but then you've also got this really modern economic engine going.
Oh yeah.
But it's interesting. It's not just all about tech. Right?
No, not at all.
There are other industries that are playing a role too.
Right. So you have tourism, of course. You've got education, medical services, and government employment.
So it's a more diverse economy than you might initially think.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, that means, more stability and resilience.
Exactly. And I think that's an important thing to kind of keep in mind when you're looking at a region, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how diverse is the economy. So, okay, well, we're talking about a major cultural center,
right?
A growing economic hub.
Right.
Obviously, connectivity is going to be important.
Yeah, super important.
And it sounds like Trivandrum is in a pretty good spot there.
Yeah, they've got a good setup.
Yeah, they've got an international airport, so they've got connections to major Indian cities, but also international destinations, particularly in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. So that's really important for both business and tourism, right?
For sure.
So for our listeners who might be thinking about traveling internationally, this is a city that's pretty easy to get to.
Yeah, definitely.
And then within India, domestically, it's also well connected.
Oh, yeah.
By rail and road.
They've got National Highway 66 running right through there.
Okay.
So, yeah, whether you're coming by air, train, or road, you're pretty much covered.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. All right, well, I think it's time that we transition to a topic that I'm always excited to talk about.
Right.
Let's talk about food.
Let's do it.
What can you tell us about the culinary scene in Trivandrum?
Oh, get ready for some deliciousness.
Okay.
Being in Kerala, you're going to see a lot of those classic Keralan flavors. So think coconut rice, seafood, lots of spices.
Yeah.
It's a really vibrant, but also very comforting kind of cuisine.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about food in a place, you're really talking about culture.
Oh, absolutely.
You're talking about history.
Yeah.
It's all tied together.
Are there any specific dishes we should be looking out for?
Yeah. If you had to recommend something, or a couple of things, what would you say?
Well, you absolutely have to try the Kerala Sadhya, especially if you're there during a festival. This is like, it's a vegetarian feast, multi-course.
Oh, wow.
Served on a banana leaf. It's a whole experience.
That sounds awesome.
It's amazing.
Okay, what else?
I mean, being on the coast, you got to have the fish curry.
Of course, yeah.
There's tons of different regional variations. So, you could probably spend a whole trip just trying different fish curries.
Yeah, just fish curry hopping.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, anything else?
You can't forget about the banana chips.
Oh, yeah.
They make some amazing banana chips there, super crispy.
Okay.
And they also have a really interesting halwa that you can find at local bakeries.
Oh, okay. I've never had halwa before, so
Try it.
I'd have to try that.
Yeah, it's a sweet treat.
Okay, nice.
It's very popular there.
Okay, I'm getting hungry now. All right, let's circle back to the city itself.
Okay.
Can you give us a little bit more of an overview in terms of the geography and the climate?
Yeah, so geographically, as we said, it's right there on the southern tip of Kerala.
Right.
Arabian Sea is to the west, and it's got this interesting terrain where you have, coastal lowlands that kind of transition into the foothills of the Western Ghats. Okay. So you've got some variety there in the landscape.
So it's not just all flat, coastal plains.
No, not at all.
Okay, what about the climate?
Well, it's a tropical monsoon climate.
Okay.
So that means it's pretty hot and humid for a good chunk of the year.
Right.
The heaviest rain falls usually during the southwest monsoon, which is June to September.
Okay.
But then from November to February, it's usually much milder.
Okay, so that's a good time to visit then if you're looking for...
Yeah, that's considered the best time.
A little bit cooler weather.
Yeah, less humid.
Perfect. All right, so we talked a little bit earlier about the city's vibe.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, what's the overall feel of Trivandrum?
Well, from what I've gathered, it's a bit more relaxed than some of the other big cities in India, like, say, Kochi or Bangalore.
Right.
But it's still a capital city, so there's a lot going on, especially in, the administrative sectors and the growing tech sector.
So it's kind of got that balance of, traditional and modern.
Yeah, exactly.
What about language? What are the main languages you would hear walking around?
So the main language is Malayalam, which is the official language of Kerala.
Mm-hmm.
But English is also widely spoken, especially in educational institutions and in business.
So if you're working in those sectors or visiting,
yeah, you'll be fine.
You'll be able to get by.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned this at the beginning, but safety seems to be a real plus in Trivandrum.
Yeah, it's generally considered one of the safest cities in Kerala.
Okay.
People often talk about the friendly locals, that sense of community. So yeah, it's generally a very secure environment.
All right. Well, that's great to hear. We touched on this earlier, but this Sri Padmanabhaswamy temple is such a huge part of the city's identity.
Yeah, it really is.
I think we should maybe delve a little deeper into that and look at some of the other spiritual and religious sites in Trivandrum.
All right, yeah. So the Padmanabhaswamy temple, aside from its wealth, it's really an architectural marvel.
Okay.
It's a beautiful example of 16th century Dravidian design.
Wow.
And then, of course, there are all the stories about the hidden underground vaults.
Yeah, that's so fascinating.
Yeah, it just adds to the mystery and the allure of the place.
Totally.
But it's not the only temple in town, of course.
Right.
There's the Attukal Bhagavathi temple, which is famous for the Attukal Pongala.
Okay.
This is a massive festival. Millions of devotees come, and it's almost entirely women.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really powerful display of faith and community.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine a festival of that scale.
It's huge.
Okay, what else? What other religious sites are there?
Well, you also have the Vetiyad Church,
Okay.
which is a Roman Catholic church, and it's especially lively during the Feast of Christ the King.
So yeah, and it's interesting how you have these different religious traditions all kind of existing together.
Yeah, it's very multicultural.
Okay, what about art and museums? Is there a scene for that in Trivandrum?
Yeah, there are some good options there.
Okay.
You've got the Napier Museum, which has this really interesting Indo-Saracenic architecture.
Oh, wow.
And inside you've got historical artifacts, tribal art.
Okay.
So a good place to learn about the history of the region.
Yeah.
Then there's the Sri Chitra Art Gallery.
Okay.
Which features works by Ravi Varma.
Okay.
Who's a very famous Indian painter. And they also have some international artists represented there.
Mm-hmm. So a good mix of both local and global art.
And for performances, you've got the Kanakakuna Palace.
Okay.
They do music and dance there.
So you've got a lot of different cultural options, not just the religious sites.
Yeah, plenty to explore.
Okay, well, let's say somebody's visiting and they want to get out of the city for a day.
Yeah.
What are some good options for nature lovers?
Well, there are a few really good ones that are not too far away.
Okay.
There's Panmudi Hills.
Okay.
Which is about 55 kilometers away.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hill station, so you get that nice, cool air.
Okay, yeah, it's a little escape from the heat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what else?
You've got Pepra Wildlife Sanctuary.
Okay.
This is dense forests.
All right.
You might see elephants.
Oh, wow.
All sorts of exotic birds.
So it's a good place to see some wildlife.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
There's the Nair Dam and Wildlife Sanctuary, which is also great for wildlife. But they also have boating.
Oh, nice.
They have a lion safari.
Wow, okay.
And a crocodile rehabilitation center.
Wow. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's a very diverse place.
All right, so lots of options for getting out and enjoying nature.
For sure.
Okay, well, we were talking about food earlier, and you mentioned some must-try dishes.
Yeah.
But are there any specific spots, like restaurants or places that you would recommend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's hear it.
So if you're looking for something kind of upscale, they do Kerala fusion cuisine.
Okay.
It's called Villa Maya, and it's in this beautifully restored Dutch mansion.
Oh, wow.
So the setting is amazing.
So it's a whole experience.
It really is.
Okay, what about if you're looking for something maybe a little more traditional?
Well, there's a place called Azad Hotel.
Okay.
They do biryani.
Okay.
Very authentic Malabari dishes.
Nice.
So that's a good option. Okay. And what about if you're, maybe on a budget or you just want something quick and casual?
Well, there's Zam Zam.
Okay.
They do shawarma and grilled food.
Okay.
It's very popular.
Nice.
And then for a really budget-friendly option, there's the Indian Coffee House.
Okay.
Which is kind of a classic.
Right. Yeah.
Very retro.
Okay.
Good for just kind of a quick bite and a coffee.
All right. So a good mix of options there, depending on what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's say somebody is thinking about actually living in Trivandrum.
Okay.
What are some of the different residential areas like?
Well, there are quite a few different neighborhoods to choose from.
Okay.
Places like Kodiyar, Sastamangalam, Vilayambalam, those are considered kind of the more upscale areas.
Okay.
They're very peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to be close to Technopark.
Right.
Pazakutam has seen a lot of development recently.
Okay.
It's very modern.
So that's where a lot of the tech workers might be living.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and what about like families? Are there any areas that are particularly good for families?
Yeah, Padam and Nalankaya are both popular with families.
Okay.
They've got good amenities and they're comfortable places to live.
All right, so it sounds like there's a variety of neighborhoods to choose from.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What about the cost of living? How does Trivandrum compare to other big cities in India?
It's generally considered to be more affordable.
Okay.
So things like rent, transportation, food are all relatively inexpensive compared to, Mumbai or Delhi.
All right, so that's a big plus.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, once you're there, how do you get around?
Well, the local bus network is really good.
Okay.
It's run by the KSRTC, which is the Kerala State Road Transport Corporation.
Okay.
The buses are reliable, they're frequent, and they're cheap.
Okay, so that's a good option.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get around.
What about like taxis or auto rickshaws?
Yeah, auto rickshaws are everywhere.
Okay.
Just be aware that sometimes they don't use the meter.
Right.
So you might want to agree on a price beforehand.
Yeah, good tip.
And you can also get cabs, like Ola and Uber.
Right.
Those are very popular.
Yeah, those are everywhere now.
And there are local taxi companies too.
Okay.
And then for tourists or students, renting a bike is also a popular option.
It's a lot of different ways to get around.
Yeah, you've got options.
All right. Well, last but not least, let's talk about healthcare.
Okay.
What's the healthcare infrastructure like in Trivandrum?
It's actually very good.
Okay.
They have a number of reputable hospitals.
Okay.
There's Kim's Health.
Okay.
There's the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, SCTMST for short.
Okay.
They're very well known for medical sciences and technology. So very high quality healthcare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and anything else?
Yeah, and then Kerala is also very famous for Ayurveda.
Oh, right.
So there's a growing trend of Ayurvedic treatment and wellness tourism.
So it sounds like, when it comes to healthcare, you've got You got a lot of options.
You're covered.
All right. Well, I think, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
It sounds like Trivandrum is a city that really offers something for everyone.
It does. It really does. You've got that amazing history and culture, all the modern amenities.
Yeah.
Beautiful nature.
It's that mix, that mix of the old and the new.
Yeah.
And it seems like they've found a way to make it all work together.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes you think about how cities are changing in the 21st century.
I do.
How can we hold on to our traditions while also embracing progress?
Yeah, and it sounds like Trivandrum is, they're kind of figuring it out. They're doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, they're leading the way, so.
It's inspiring.
It is, it is. All right, well, that is our deep dive into Trivandrum, Thiruvananthapuram.
There you go.
Lots to think about.
Yeah.
And hopefully we've inspired some of you to maybe add this to your travel list.
Yeah, go check it out.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.